$38,000 delta, which is not insignificant, but in the grand scheme of things, isn't as that's substantial, at least in my mind. And so, for that delta of 38,000, notwithstanding again the things I talked about, additional cost savings, etc., you end up with a facility that, at least in the short term, like, again, as an example, if we wanted to use it for homeschool next year, again, just as an example, it's almost plug and play. That upstairs can be opened up and a lot of things can be done with it, especially if we keep some or all or a lot of the furniture there. So again, look at the bottom line, but notice the difference and pay attention to the difference between buying the school and not buying the school. And again, in my mind, it's a difference that is not material enough to change the analysis that I had and the recommendation that I had in the email yesterday. And that's my shortened effort to be efficient. And I'm a lawyer, so I don't do this well. I get paid by the hour. So, okay. Thanks, Jack, for the, condensing that really well, and the email that you put together. Does anybody give me a thumbs up or whatever? Do we need to have more discussion? Does everyone feel like they've had a chance to review everything that Jack put out there and feel confident in making a decision? I want to just kind of gauge if we need to take more time.
Just want to note that one thing that's important to know on this spreadsheet is it doesn't include any salary cuts. So depending on what we decide tomorrow in the finance committee meeting, there still may be salary cuts that we decide to make to be fiscally responsible. I'll just say that.
So is it fair to say that the numbers that we're looking at are still pretty preliminary, and so any questions about those could wait until after finance? Okay. So the big piece there is really the difference we'd be looking at between with and without the church.
Right. Just as kind of a, just so we have some kind of parameters of the decision and the effect. But the difference between what we offered and what the counteroffer was is not, significantly impact that really in any way. So Beth wants to say, Beth's got something.
I have a question for Brian and Amy. Will the purchase of this church drive the decision to cut salaries?
Every decision affects that, yes. There's a percentage to cut salaries, there's furlough days, there's lots of scenarios that we can look on just dealing with pay. Then the other issue is, do we need to do staff reductions? That's a different category. But they're both in the conversation based on those ingredients I laid out at prior meetings. So whatever scenario the finance committee wants to push out, you have to understand that people are on the other side.
But correct me if I'm wrong, those discussions are going to happen irrespective of any decision on the church, because we're still anticipating a shortfall. Correct. Yeah, that you can't hang all of it on the church. We're still going to find out whether we're bracing for a 5% all the way up to charter schools. When I met with charter schools on Friday, they're planning up to 15% cut just in case. So we don't know yet. So we're just going to play all the scenarios we can.
And in the meetings that I've been in the last day or two have been, more like 7%, 3%, 3%, 7%. So it's over multiple years. It's not just next year. So we really have to talk about that in the finance committee too, and decide whether we want to spread it out over a couple years or wait to see what happens and make some decisions later. So it's hard to make decisions like this when we don't have all the information we need.
And I would just throw it out there as, we know that there's going to be reduction in PPR. The only way we can make up for that is either cut or bring in more kids. And we don't have any room to bring in more kids. And so for the $38,000 difference, basically between the two scenarios, if we bring in a couple more homeschool kids, or in the fall, that might, make up that difference there, but there's no way we can grow and bring in more students to bring in more revenue if we don't have the space. So, I know there's going to be big decisions to be made. I don't think the purchase of the church drastically impacts those decisions that are going to be just because of the situation we're in. That's my 2 cents. But
in theory, we would continue to have our due diligence period, and we would know the budget reductions before that due diligence period is over, right?
I don't think so. I don't think we're set to know until June. The earliest would be the beginning of June that the legislature would have their budget out. Brian, is that still looking like June?
Yeah.
So I think our due diligence, well, it's 60 days, right,
It's
Jack?
60 days, right? Yeah.
Okay.
So that should fall within, which would be that COVID extension.
Well, the COVID extension is, Jack, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the COVID extension is if there's delays in getting the information we need or inspections we need because of COVID, like they can't get in the building or they can't.
Yeah, that's right.
It's the COVID exception is not really the budget exception. Jack?
Right. I'm just saying, but we have 60 days. That was partially because of.
Yes.
Regardless, we have 60 days, right? And
yes,
we'll know
right.
more about our budget impacts.
Yes.
Yeah.
What about Amanda? I can't see people in video. Some people aren't in video, so I just want to make sure I'm not overlooking a request for comment or something.
No, I don't really have anything at this point.
Okay.
So I'm coming in a little bit late. Apologies for that. Correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't the purchase of the church going to come out of 5B funds that we can't access for the next year and change anyway?
Right.
Unless there's something else going on. So what this does to our budget for the fall is nothing. And what this will do for our budget for the following year is potentially something. But that's still a long way away. I just wanted to make sure that I understood that correctly.
Good point. Yep. That's how I understand it, Brennan.
Well, the church doesn't cost nothing. The minute you own it, you got expenses on that. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Well, we don't have, we're a nonprofit, and if we don't use the building, we don't have to, if we don't use the building, we don't have electricity or security or those kind of things. So the costs that are in the budget right now, I think Amy budgeted like $78,000 for the operation of the church in the budget that we see. And that, that includes, she said, Amy, you said that included like trash and some maintenance and snow removal and electricity and security or something. So depending on how we use that building, if we're not ready to go and we don't do anything with it, then that's not even there either. But yeah, it costs to run it if you do use it. Absolutely.
Also, I have 5 minutes.
Okay, and Lisa wants to add something.
I just want to kind of piggyback the 5B. So, and I'm sorry, I saw the stuff come through, but I didn't have time to look at it properly ahead of this meeting. So the purchase price is planning to come out of 5B. Is there still the plan to have that remaining delta put toward our existing building? Is that still on the table? Do we feel?
Right, and the plan that Amy put out, the alternative, is also borrowing $2 million. That includes borrowing.
Okay.
So
okay,
the remaining funds would go to pay for some of the stuff we've already done, and also renovations to the existing school and the church, which I think could cover a lot.
Okay.
Right.
So these numbers are based on the assumption of option 3 at the moment. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes, yes, yeah,
That was my question too.
yep.
And
So,
then
go ahead.
but those operating costs, that 78,000 or whatever it was, that comes out of our school's budget. So it does directly impact finances for next year in terms of what the finance committee is going to be looking at tomorrow night, right?
Right.
If we use if the building is operating and no additional students come in because of the building, yep.
But then we haven't budgeted in like personnel, anybody that we would be paying to be in that building, or have we, Amy?
No, just a facility person.
So I think that right now we don't, I think getting into how we use that building or whatever, that's, that's kind of, I think Amy I'm glad Amy you put that in there as a cost, but we don't know, is homeschool going to be over there? We don't know what might happen. What that gives us flexibility. We don't know if a lot of parents are going to want to homeschool and use maybe a different alternative type of education. We don't know what that's going to look like, in the fall, but, so it's hard to know when we don't have everything.
Space to social distance kiddos back in the fall, like
Yep.
that would provide some space, physical space. I'm just thinking.
It's true.
Scenario planning.
So give me a thumbs up if we need, where's the temperature in the room here? Are we ready? Brandon's got 5 minutes and we got to let Brian and Brandon go. Okay. Are we ready to?
I think we're going to need another meeting, Brittany.
What do you guys think? Do we need thumbs up? Most people are giving me a thumbs up. Everybody else is giving me a thumbs up except for one person. So. You want to ask for another meeting, Brandon? We have a deadline of Jack. What's the deadline for the offer?
Friday afternoon.
Okay. What do you, Brandon, you want to ask for,
Well, I think since I came into the conversation halfway through, I can abstain from a vote. I'm not quite there yet.
Okay.
But if everybody else is, then.
No. I think we should make sure every one of us feels ready.
Comfortable with voting, yeah.
Okay. So, is it just people need more time to look at stuff and think about it? Additional information that we need to get, and because if we need to schedule another meeting, let's make sure we have what's needed by then.
Just remember, we have a finance committee meeting tomorrow.
Do we want to come back together briefly then on Thursday, see if there's anything out of finance committee that would be, informational, give folks just a day or two to reflect on it?
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's a really good idea too.
Okay, so is everybody able to, can we get a quorum for Thursday?
I can do Thursday.
Okay, what time is I want to try to be respectful of, we've got dinner time to be respectful of, but I also don't want to be so late. Everybody's having tonight and Thursday night. Could we do like maybe 4 o'clock on Thursday? Then we can.
Works for me.
Okay, and we'll try to budget like a 30 minutes and try to keep it to that. If we need more, let me know, but we'll try to keep it to 30 minutes or so if we can. Okay, all right, so we will, anybody move to adjourn, and we'll reschedule for Thursday at 4 o'clock.
Lisa, did you have a question or was that an agreement?
I was going to say, yeah, if we're meeting at 4 and have a little bit of extra time, could we run through our plan for the community meeting? That's a week from tonight.
Okay.
No.
Please.
I heard her say, oh, never mind. I can't say it. We're recording.
Yeah.
Move to adjourn.
Truthfully. Okay. Yes, Lisa, I'll put it on. All right. Have a good night, guys. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, you guys.